It's week 14 in the NFL. We are talking with Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com. Right now, we're going to tackle the Oakland Raiders Denver game. Joe Duffy, you know, Denver right now is a 7.5 point home favorite, looking very, very impressive. And at first glance, this game looks like similar to, you know, the Thursday night game tonight, one of those games where the favorite is the obvious choice and might also be the side with value. In the NFL, we do see this a lot where, you know, like half the time, the obvious choice is actually the sharp side as well, not necessarily the side you want to be going against. Denver just looking very, very impressive overall. Osweiler running the offense very efficiently, and the defense just absolutely impressive. Oakland's a team that, you know, in spots I like. I liked them against KC last week, and that was wrong. But, you know, very impressive passing game, what Oakland is doing, but just don't want to bet against Denver right now. The line is 7 or 7.5. What do you think, Joe? Is 7 too many points to be giving?
I don't think it's quite as obvious as you do, Peter. In fact, the Raiders are one of those, again, I like to say predictably unpredictable when you got a young quarterback in Carr. He is struggling, and of course his top receiver, Amani Cooper, is a rookie. But these young teams tend to be predictably unpredictable, which means when you least expect it, expect it. Denver's had more than their share of injuries. They had a lot of guys who were partial participants or did not participate in practice this week, maybe even some guys that are going to miss it. And they're really banged up a little bit on defense. But because Oakland, kind of an erratic offense, they've been struggling, this could be a week where they could definitely break out. And keep in mind that, look, this is kind of a tough spot for the Broncos. They're off of games with both the Patriots and then at San Diego. Then, looking ahead, they've got Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. So a possible letdown situation here. I'm not so sure I'm in love with the Raiders because I do agree with you. Conversely, you could say, look, you got a young, struggling quarterback going against this phenomenal defense. But with the NFL being such a regress to the mean sport, I think I might actually have to let you make the pass because it seems like you like the favorite here, and I'm kind of stuck in between because I can see both sides. Actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the NFL is absolutely a regression to the mean kind of sport, except when you have these elite teams. And Denver's kind of reminding me now of the way Seattle was, you know, a couple of years ago or last year, where you know, they had such a strong defense, they were such a solid program that you know, they were actually a good bet even when they were at home as a big favorite against reasonable teams, which is a situation that we have here. It's just that their defense is just so impressive. I just can't make myself bet against it, even though, yeah, it is probably going to be a big public play, but maybe the public's going to be right here. You think that they're not quite as strong as Seattle was when they were one of those dominant teams that was just covering game in and game out, even as a big favorite at home?
Well, as far as that analogy, remember, I'm a huge Russell Wilson fan. I think he's one of the top quarterbacks in the league, and I think he's always going to be better than his statistics because of the style that he plays and can keep plays alive with his legs, etc. Brook Osweiler, the jury's still out. Look, he might turn out to be the real deal, but right now I still want to see if he can do it game in and game out, and I think he's more of a manager here. I mean, look, keep in mind, this team has scored 17 or less in 3 of their last 4 games. So this could be a very low-scoring game where, you know, all of a sudden 7.5 points, especially if it's 7.5, kind of looms large. This could be a defensive struggle for sure.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that, though, because the total's actually been going up. What's your take on that, Joe? Because earlier it was 43 or 43.5. Now there's no 43s left. It's solidly 43.5. And the Greek has 44. So the line's going up. Greek has a lean to the over. What's your take on that in light of you expecting to be a low-scoring game?
It is well, 44. It would still be a low-scoring game in the NFL this day and age. I do think, yeah, because it was such a low total. Look, I think even if you like Denver, you probably believe that they may force some turnovers and maybe score some defensive touchdowns. And if you like Oakland, you subscribe to what I had said, that you think that, look, this talented Oakland offense is in their least, when you least expect it, and especially with Denver having more injuries on the defensive side of the ball, I think that has as much to do with it as anything. That Denver does have some injuries. That's why it's going up a little bit. So I think, yeah, either way, and if you like Denver, you probably think they're going to get maybe a defensive score or two with their talent defense. But if you like Oakland, you do think that this talented offense is finally going to explode.
All right, well, this game's going to be a pass for Joe Duffy. I'm leaning Denver at 7, although at 7.5, I don't think I'd be leaning towards it. And I will definitely be asking Brent from BetDSI tomorrow if any sharp action came in on the other side on Oakland. And if that is the case, I'll be off Denver for sure. Joe Duffy, interesting analysis. As always, tell us what your website, offshoreinsiders.com, is all about.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic year, fantastic 28 years. So, so far the last week or so, not necessarily our all-time greatest run, but we're coming off a great night last night as we filed this report. Back on fire. Just visit offshoreinsiders.com. Oh, my goodness, I'm doing all kinds of research, and I got some time, some proven techniques for the Bulls, NFL this weekend. Just visit offshoreinsiders.com. I'll give you all the details.
Thanks, Joe.